What is up, blockchain gang? Sadly, MIR4 isn't a game anymore. It's an empire, and like every empire, it has rulers who create laws to protect themselves, cops to enforce those laws, and the rebels who break them. This video is for those who refuse to be cogs in their machine any longer. Part 1. The MIR4 Pyramid Scheme. First, it's important to understand how the hierarchy of MIR4 currently operates if you want to dismantle it. All of the servers are dominated by a few groups of players. They have gone by many names such as DTM, HOF, or TOP, but their goal is always the same. Feed the majority of resources from each server to the top 10 or 20 players of that server. The game's major PvP events are staged, just like professional wrestling, but like the bad kind without the rock. The winner is predetermined as everyone involved are allies and they are working together to exploit the game for maximum rewards and collusion instead of fighting each other for them as intended. Now, I'm not saying definitively that all of these groups are fueling the illegal real money trading going on, but the bots must be getting all of that gold from somewhere. And more times than not, you'll see top players cooperating with bots in the lower levels of the Secret Peak for summons, or in the Tower of the Black Dragon for chess. However, if they are behind the rampant black market gold selling, they are literally destroying the game for their own personal gain, and they should be banned. Many of these players stream as well and have ads to buy or sell gold on Discord. Since the developers have not been effective in breaking up these imperialist monopolies, we must take it upon ourselves as Dragonians to right these wrongs. Part 2. How to become their worst nightmare. Now, you might not think you are strong enough, or that they have too many players, or that they are too organized, but that is precisely what makes you such a threat. The only thing you have to do is wear a red outfit, ride a hell horse, and break all of the rules imposed by our conquerors in civil disobedience. And when it comes to it, violent protest. You see, these players have turned the game we love into a corporation that is heavily reliant on many cogs in the machine, all working nicely together, and this will be their downfall. This dependency on a controlled routine shall descend into chaos. If you see another Dragonian wearing red to hide their wounds, or riding a horse whose freedom even hell could not contain, or breaking these arbitrary rules, simply ask them, how do you enslave a dragon? And if they respond with, convince him he is a dog, you'll know they are with the resistance. We need to ask ourselves, why would so many players voluntarily give up their progress and fight for the enemy? The truth is they are scared. That's why anyone joins a gang of violent thugs or organized crime. They'll happily give up 30, 40, or even 50% of their progress and hundreds of gold each week to gain the protection of the dominant clan, rewards from the valleys, and other events they exclude the rest of the players from for relative safety. Since it costs so much to be in these clans compared to the rewards earned, they can only justify this by gaining unfettered access to the bosses in the Secret Peak and Magic Square, even if they have to step down 1 or 2 levels than where they should be. That is where they gain the majority of their gold and progress, so that is where we're going to hit them the hardest. Part 3. The Art of Shadow Warfare. In addition to the main clans and their alt clans, we have the neutral clans, who mostly follow the strict rules of the main clans and may even enforce them themselves if they're strong enough. Then you will have resistance clans fighting for their progress every step of the way. Regardless of where you are now, this revolution cannot succeed without you. You do not have to switch clans. In fact, it would be more helpful to the resistance if you were in the Imperial Army. That is why I see everyone as my potential ally. This is where the revolutionary mindset is so important. Develop a calm and focused mentality during combat, particularly in high-stakes situations, such as raiding the square or peak. Stay positive and persistent even when facing defeat. Remember that even the most skilled Dragonians have faced setbacks in their MIR4 journey. Remind them that this is a game and not a job, and the objective is to have fun while routinely competing and cooperating with others. We are not trying to beat them up with brute force. We are stealing from the rich to give to the poor, like Robin Hood. So we're going to use guerrilla warfare, hit and run tactics. The goal in Secret Peak and Magic Square is not to kill as many AFK players as possible. That's not even PvP, because you would need another player to be on the other end of it to qualify as PvP. And I don't want them to hate me. I want them to join me. Remember, we're not griefers. We're economic disruptors. Yeah, that sounds more noble. All you are doing when you kill them is giving them the ability to track you for 30 minutes, or the motivation to hunt down your allies if they can't, all while notifying their allies of your position. It's always best to let sleeping dogs lie, and only fight over objectives. If you want the node they are working, then fine, kill them for it. If a boss has spawned, fight them for it and the boxes, but don't let them know you are there until there is something for you to gain. Move in and out of the shadows like a ghost. When they send multiple allies using tickets after all the bosses have been slain, and you only have 30 seconds left on your ticket, you've won. Even if you've been killed multiple times and you never killed anyone else. You see, these players can only deal with the reduction on their progress if they're able to make up for it in these other areas. And since you are disrupting that, they can't even afford to pay the weekly tax. This makes them resent the players that are sworn to protect them more than they do you for playing the game. The clan will eventually do your job for you by kicking them out and forcing them to join the resistance, or at least a neutral clan, while harboring a grudge against them. Part 4. Exploiting their timers. Make sure when you take out the boss, you put in the respawn timer in your clan chat. Once you take out one rotation, the goal is to keep it going for as long as possible so your allies can organize who is going to use a single ticket for the next round, while other allies are attacking resources in a different location. The small blue bosses in Leader Chamber 1 respawn 30 minutes after being slain, while the second chamber and gold bosses are every 45 minutes. The red or tier 3 bosses respawn on a fixed timer instead. You can use timers on mirkit.mir4collection.com to know when the highest level bosses will spawn. The goal is to not be in that place when they spawn, since a very powerful player will always show up and take those and any other bosses and kill you if available. But this gives you a 3-hour window until the next spawn time, so you're usually free to take all of the smaller bosses, or at least fight somebody more your own size for them. You're not trying to bring a team of 5 people with you for a single boss so everybody gets a single chest. That's what they're going to do, until they get so sick of it that they realize it's not worth the cost. These timers are also handy if you know when they do expeditions, challenges, domination servers in the Tower of the Black Dragon. I'm making a tower guide next, so make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss it. But many top clans cannot enter the tower in the evening because it conflicts with event timers or world boss spawns. Knowing where the enemies are is an important variable so you can make plans to take the objectives in other areas. It's often easier to play in other servers, as many players will assume you're an alt of an ally and will be peaceful unless they see you breaking the rules. Feel free to follow the rules in the tower when you see other people by switching to a blue node and then going back to a yellow node or leaving once you're alone. Part 5. Remember who the good guys are. When I see players breaking the rules openly, I'm not going to kill them and take their loot for myself, even if I'm easily able to do so. I'm more likely to let some 150k have the legendary node, and I'll take the epic, and I'll even defend them if anyone tries to stop them. Nodes and bosses have always been first come, first served to me, unless it is my enemy. The rewards are simply not worth the time it takes to secure them when they are contested, unless you have the benefit of also depriving your enemy. When I kill an enemy over a boss and they send reinforcements, I'm not trying to get into a pissing contest by calling my allies, wasting everybody's time in a losing battle. Even if they didn't have 3 times as many active players and double the power, I'm going to move down a floor instead and kill all of the enemies there after taking the bosses to lure them away. That way, I could return to the original floor when those bosses respawn, and I've wasted the maximum amount of enemy tickets while preserving my own. When I'm grinding in the Peak and Magic Square and I get attacked, I'll kill a handful of their allies in retaliation. Then I'll blame them for not letting me farm and making me attack people. I'll even call them out for not having their allies back. I'm conditioning them to leave me the hell alone if I'm not bothering anyone. Just like in real life, if you don't stand up to the bullies and make them pay with consequences, they'll see you as an easy target and always continue to pick on you. Global chat is another tool we'll use to change the mindset of players. I frequently speak with my so-called enemies in private and public, but I'm not taunting them. I'm congratulating them or saying something friendly because I'm having fun. If they become toxic, I'll remind them it is just a game and they should probably touch some grass. I'll usually excuse their behavior due to the high stress demands of the dominating clans causing their frustration, and I'll try to show them that there's a better way to enjoy the game. They absolutely hate it when you excuse their toxic behavior due to how poorly they're treated by their masters. Even if you are part of the Imperial forces, you must feel like you're not getting as good of a deal as before, since gold is always getting harder to come by, and your progress is also more expensive than ever. I would like to think I'm helping you too in making the game more fun for everyone, or simply making the leaders give you a better cut to keep you fighting for them. Deep down, they know they can't control many servers without the help of their starving dogs, kept alive on the scraps. Don't blame me if they catch a whiff of that good stuff and bite the hand that feeds them. In my home server, we've convinced 2 neutral clans to join the resistance, which allows us to swap out for more expeditions and challenges. We've organized attacks on world bosses in other servers and regained 5 new powerful members from the dark side, either by choice or expulsion. Every time you log in, you have the power to make a change, to make a difference. That is the true power of a Dragonian. It doesn't come from rulers or gold or have anything to do with the game itself. It comes from you. So let's go out there and show them our real power.
Whoever defeats the enemy will survive. The survivor becomes the victor. The victors will end the war. And the one who ends the war will possess the world. Can you hear the legendary song for you? From my battle to our war, MIR4.